Man, the beginning of this episode had me dying. And didn't I tell you that y'all need to watch Oliver? Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to KRSTV. This is your boy Kenny. Now remember, subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you can get notifications every time I drop a video. Also follow all the information I have in the description box. Also like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And this is the Haves and the Have-Nots Season 8, Episode 8. And the name of this episode is The Heavy Lifting. I really did enjoy this episode, and I have to say where it left off at the last episode had me gagged, and that's exactly where we pick up with this episode. David walks into Jeffrey's room. Jeffrey is getting served down by Madison. The pink bunny rabbit done found his golden chocolate egg. Nobody knows Easter better than Cadbury, bitch. And he was getting his life, but this has completely traumatized David because David was not expecting to see all that. I mean, and it's a common thing. Like, no adult wants to see their child having sex, or vice versa. I know I wouldn't want to walk in and see my mother and my dad getting it on. Just saying. But after they actually noticed that David had came in, so Madison and Jeffrey start talking back and forth, and Madison is telling Jeffrey, look, you gotta stop treating gay like it's a bad thing. And because, you know, Jeffrey's panicking, like, oh my god, like, what the hell. But in the but they go back and forth within that, and then Jeffrey tells Madison that he wants him to take him out for dinner. You know, and he's like, you mean like getting McDonald's or something? He's like, oh no, I want you to take me out somewhere nice and fancy, because I know I'm good, and I know you enjoyed this. And I'm like, okay, Jeffrey, you was really feeling yourself, but hey, like father, like son. I mean, if anything, that's one thing he got from David, even though we now know that Jeffrey is not David's biological son. But still, you know, hey, David got swag when it comes down to it, and so does Jeffrey in his own right, because Jeffrey be having these boys going crazy. Justin, aka Glenn Close, yeah. So pretty much, you know, Madison gets his clothes on and he leaves, and while he's going downstairs, him and David start talking. David can't even look at him, and the thing is, Madison knows he's uncomfortable, and, you know, he pretty much tells him, like, well, I'm about to leave, and David's like, okay, fine, see you later. And then Madison just continues to stand there, and then David's like, why the hell are you still standing here? And he's like, because I'm trying to make you uncomfortable. Now, Madison, now I know you feeling yourself because you know you gave that pink rabbit to that golden chocolate egg with Jeffrey, but don't let it get your ass whooped. David will whoop your ass. Get the hell about this man's house and stop with all the bullshit. So he ends up leaving, and then finally Jeffrey comes downstairs, and it's awkward. Like, at first he says he's gonna go to the kitchen, and then David ends up going upstairs. David is just completely traumatized, the fact that he saw his son having sex. You know, and I don't think it's due to the fact because he's gay, is that no parent wants to see their child in that light. And it is what it is. Then we get a scene with Veronica and Celine. Now, when Celine gets there, Veronica offers her a drink, and Celine's like, sure, I'll take a drink. And then Veronica was like, it's over there on my desk. And Celine is like, you want me to pour it? And she's like, well, how else are we gonna have it, dear? I'm like, Veronica, you evil bitch. Just because she's a maid doesn't mean, like, she's there as your client. She is not there to serve you drinks, bitch. You're supposed to serve her a drink. Evil bitch. Just crazy. So they go back and forth, you know, about this whole situation with Jim. And she tells Celine that I want to represent you. You can get him on child support and pain and suffering from all the years that he sexually harassed and abused you on your job. You can be a rich bitch. And then she tells her, I won't stop until I have the criers on the street. Little do you know, there's something else going on in regards to that. So this whole case thing you building up against Jim might actually backfire on your ass. Just saying. So, and we can definitely tell in the scene that Celine is having reservations with this, because she's like, I don't trust you. And Veronica was like, that's okay. I know I'm a vicious bitch. But right now you're on my good side. So then Selena's like, so that means you're using me. And Veronica was like, hell yeah. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't give a damn about you or your kids. I'm like, really, bitch? Say how you really feel. Damn. That damn Veronica is so damn cruel, it's ridiculous. But then she begins to tell Celine, like, why are you having misgivings about this? You're on the verge of being evicted from your apartment. You have 2 jobs, one at a burger joint and the other at the hospital. And you got one child that's in college and the other that's in private school. Like, seriously? What do you have to think about? But then, like, Celine was like, well, it's not about me. And then Veronica's like, of course not. It's about me, bitch. You know. And then all of a sudden, Selena's like, look, I just want to move on. And then, like, eventually Celine leaves. And then Veronica was like, dumb bitch. Why wouldn't you want to get revenge like this? Like, seriously? Like, this is the move to do. So that was the end of that. Then we get a scene with Charles. Oliver is trying to give him his briefing, and Charles is like, it's all wrong. Landon comes in with the right briefing, which makes Oliver look like a dumbass, and pretty much then pretty much afterwards, we see a scene between Oliver and Landon. They going back and forth, and Oliver's mad because Landon made him look bad, and he's like, "Oh, so you're gonna play that game, huh, Landon? I can play that game too." And he's like, and then he tells Landon, "Oh, you think I don't notice? You think all of us don't notice? Be careful." And I was like, what? I said, y'all need to watch Oliver's ass. Oliver is coming for Landon, and it's a matter of time to see what Oliver's gonna do. I told you I ain't trust that little bitch. So we saw that go on. So then we see Kyle, the Attorney General, shows up, and he has to sit down with Charles. And he pretty much, of course, Kyle with his fake ass, goes in there, it's like, I just, wanted to congratulate you. And then he mentions, him and his wife or whatever. And then decides to let Kyle know that he will be electing a new Attorney General once he takes office. And of course Kyle is kind of like thrown, like, you're replacing me? He's like, yes, I am. And and he's like, and then, like, they kind of exchange pleasantries, but we can definitely tell there's a whole lot of shrewdness under it all. And then Charles just has like this smirk on his face. Kyle ends up leaving, and it's like Charles is like, I got your ass. So then we get a scene with Hannah and Catherine. They go back and forth. At first she's at Catherine's cell. Wyatt is still trying to chime in, like, Hannah, will you pray for me? She's like, yeah, I'll pray for you. And she's like, but you have to understand, I was just on that bad stuff. And she's like, baby, all of this is bad. Ain't nothing good going on here at all for you or your mother. But she tells Wyatt that she will pray for him. I'm like, Wyatt need more than prayer. Wyatt needs medical attention and, therapy, because Wyatt just does the most. So they go into the interrogation room. And then pretty much, she says that, yeah, Marty has everything set up. And she tells Hannah that, look, you're the only one I trust. And, I want you to hold my estate until I get out of jail. So, giving her power of attorney. And she says, you'll have total control of my money and my businesses. My assets are protected. And then she was like, well, why won't you ask Jim to do it? She said, please, I wouldn't give Jim a strand of my hair. I'm like, yeah. And this whole situation gonna flip. Now with Hannah having power of attorney, Jim's gonna have to come to her for money. And and even Catherine said it, like, shoot, he's gonna have to come to you for a candy bar. He won't be able to do nothing without you. But then she also talks about, I told Candace to give him back that money. And Catherine was dead set. Yeah, Candace needs to give him that money back because he has nothing. Like, literally nothing. So, yeah, if you want him off your back, you need to give him that money back. Make sure he gets that money back and keep him out your hair, because, yeah, Jim is crazy. And she knows how crazy and lunatic Jim will get, especially when it comes to money. So she let Hannah know the deal. And it's just so crazy that Hannah is now the power of attorney of Catherine's, of Catherine's millions. But it's going to bring her a lot of monsters because when you got that kind of money, you also have a lot of enemies. So it's like it's kind of like a catch-22. Like you got some good parts to it, and then you got some bad parts to it. But while that's going on, down at the Iron Bone, you got Candace, Mitch, and Benny. Benny is still on his shit. You're not gonna give the money back. Blah 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 blah. And I ain't giving back nothing. You need to keep that money. You need to go out of town and all of that. And we see that Candace is actually setting up something with the bank. So Benny is really in his feelings because, they about to. From the scene, it looks like she's about to give the money back to Jim. So then Hannah calls and Candace intercepts the call, and she wants to talk to Benny. So she gives Benny the phone, and she pretty much tells Benny that she now has power of attorney of Catherine's estate. And he and then like all of a sudden, he ends up giving the phone back to Hannah because he in his damn feelings. Oh, spoiled bastard. And then all of a sudden, once they get off the phone with each other, Catherine, forgive me, y'all. Candace and Benny go back and forth, and they both now know that Hannah has now power of attorney of Catherine's money. So immediately you start seeing Candace's wheels start to turn. And then Mitch even clocked it. He was like, you're plotting. But Mitch lets her know, I got you. First of all, your mother got complete total access of the money. Him coming after Benny and the fact that we're the Malones, we got you if I need you. So whatever you choose to do, just know I got your back. I'm riding with you. And I'm like, he love him some Candace, y'all. So then we really get this showdown scene between Landon and Oliver. And Oliver's mad, like, you get your rocks off by humiliating me. Why won't you just be nice to me? And he was saying that, look, he likes his things a certain way, and it's my job to make sure that things are handled in an appropriate manner. I didn't humiliate you. You did that to yourself. And then all of a sudden, Oliver's like, man, it's obvious. Look how protective you are of him. And then all of a sudden they go back and forth, and then he was like, and then like pretty much Landon was like, you know what? I actually brought you in because in a way you reminded me of myself. But then again, I'm starting to see I made a bad choice because you're really an asshole. And then Oliver was like, well, if that's how you feel, then just fire me. And he was like, he was like, okay, I can do that. And then, but Oliver's like, but I know you won't though. I know you won't fire me. And Landon was like, oh, you really think you got this shit on lock because you got powerful parents in DC? And then all of a sudden he was like, but I'm good at my job, you know. And he started to get a little emotional. And Landon's like, are you about to cry? Really? And he was like, and then all of a sudden he was saying that, you know what, do what you gotta do. You know, if that's how you feel, then fine, because I'll do what I have to do also. And I was like, oh shit, Oliver, what you planning? So I told y'all asses y'all need to watch Oliver. Oliver got it out for fucking Landon, while Landon thinking he got this thing on lock. I already clocked that Oliver wants to be in Landon's position. And, you know, all of a sudden, pretty much he told him to get the hell out of my office. So he goes off, and then all of a sudden Landon's like, he was about to cry? There's no crying in politics. Seriously? I'm like, Landon, you're really feeling yourself right now, but you need to be watching your back because Oliver coming for your ass. So I hope you have your I's dotted and your T's crossed when it comes to that shit. So then we get a scene with David and Jim. And pretty much David lets him know about that he walked in on Jeffrey having sex, and he was like, you know, I already knew that my son was gay, but I wasn't ready to see it like that. He's like, I just feel like the wind got knocked out of me. I'm like, which is kind of common, you know, no parent wants to see their child getting it on. And then all of a sudden, that damn Jim was like, so what were they doing, David? I'm like, you an asshole, Jim. But then Jim also tells David that Celine was there, and he was saying, and he was like, you know, maybe you need to hear her out. He was like, hell no, fuck that bitch. It was her. She was the main reason that kept us out of the governor's mansion. So I will never forgive her for that. And then all of a sudden, you know, David starts talking about his plan to take down Veronica and that he's talked to George. He says, oh hell no. That is not the way to go with Veronica. You know Veronica got lawyers on speed dial that are ready to get things done if something were to happen to her. So turning her over to George would not be the wise thing to do. So, and then all of a sudden, they spoke Veronica's ass up because Veronica comes up in there, serves some papers, you know, that she's representing Celine and that they're going to sue him for everything, for back child support, for sexual harassment, and they go back and forth and shit gets revealed, honey. You know, Veronica pretty much starts talking about his little penis and all of that, and he was like, well, how would you know about that, Veronica? She's like, oh, I know. Remember when we screwed around when David went to a conference with his brother, and then that time we got drunk? Yeah, boo-boo, I've had it, and that little mole thing by your penis looks like it could be cancer. But then Jim says, oh, it's just a mole, and we see David's fucking face, so David knows that shit went down. So I was like, man, and it's not surprising that Jim and Veronica done fucked. You mean, both of them are evil as hell. They both are cut from the same cloth. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if they got it in, you know. And we all know that Veronica's a slut. Veronica fucks all of her clients. And then, of course, you know, Veronica can't be in the same room with David without going back and forth and taunting him. And they went through that shit. And then after she left, you know, Jim was like, you should have held her under the water 30 minutes more. You know, you should have known that about cockroaches. You know, I was like, oh shit. Oh yeah, and then she was also talking shit. And then, like, while she was there, she was also talking shit to Jim about him getting shot by his own son. And then he kind of threw it back. Well, didn't your son take a knife to your chest? I was like, oh man, that whole scene between Veronica and Jim had me rolling. And she was like, but then she was like, you know what? I gotta go because I don't have any time to talk to you or your little pee-pee. Like, and you could definitely tell David was mad. So after Veronica left, Jim was like, you don't believe her, do you? And David was like, yes, I do. But then he tells Jim, you have my permission and my blessing to do whatever the hell you want to do to Veronica. He's like, cool. But then he's like, oh, I want to let you know something, Jim. I slept with Catherine after your wedding. And then Jim was like, somebody had to do it. I'm like, wow. So we just having like a whole fucking episode of wife swapping and shit. That was crazy. So then we at the bank with Candace and Benny. Benny's in his fucking feelings, still on his bullshit. And he pretty much tells Candace, this is the dumbest thing you've ever done. And, Candace was like, look, I want to do the right thing, all right? So pretty much she's creating a new account for Benny. And after the bank, after the banker comes back, she lets it be known, okay, so the thing is, you're creating a new account for Benjamin Young. $8.35 is going to be wired to Jim Cryer, and $1 million is going to be sent to Benny Young's account. And then all of a sudden you see Benny smiling. I'm like, and I just said that Candace fucking wheels was spinning. Once she heard her mother had power of attorney, she decided to play this a different way. But Jim, knowing how crazy and maniacal and evil he is, he's not gonna rest until he gets that money back. So Candace, thinking that she got the upper hand, maybe putting her, Benny, and her mother in danger, fucking with that crazy ass Jim Cryer. But all of a sudden Benny all smiling and shit. I'm like, Benny, you are fucking trifling. You are trifling. Like, Hannah just can't get a break with them damn kids. Both of your kids are full of it, Candace and Benny. It's just that Benny's worse. So that's what I got, y'all. Get down in those comments and let me know what y'all thought about this episode. But this episode was crazy as shit. I was so here for it. But yeah, get down in those comments. Let me know your thoughts. So until next time, everybody, take care.